Hey guys, at last we've reached another year, and that means another little top 10 list for my favorite shows of 2022. So this one is a lot harder than 2021 because, you know, that was kind of like the COVID era, and now I had like 23 shows I watched in its entirety during 2022. Yes, I have no social life. Just kidding, I kind of do. I have my kitty. Yeah, I wanted to make this video a couple weeks ago, but I was still watching one of the items on the list, and I kind of wanted to wait till it finished to put it on the list because it's like, what if I like it, but then it ends really bad? I got to watch the whole thing to see if it deserved to be put on the list, and it did. Which show is that? Well, you got to keep watching. Okay, you got us starting off with Momo, get out of here. Number 10, which is Chainsaw Man. So this is an anime about this guy who's kind of like has a pact with this demon. So his head could turn into a chainsaw and he could beat the fuck out of people. It's very fun. Um, I like it because, like, while very dramatic and you definitely empathize with the characters, it also doesn't take itself too seriously, given the, you know, ludicrous presence. So I enjoy most of the characters. I love the fight scenes, the choreography, the animation. Animated, of course, by the iconic studio Mappa, which I think is probably like one of the greatest animation studios out there right now. Um, I like the main character Denji because he is unlike main protagonists who are like, I want to be the best, I'm gonna be the best, like no one ever was. He's not like that. He's just kind of like, I want to survive, I want to eat, I want somewhere to sleep, and I want some anime boobs, So he's one of us. Stuff I don't like about the show is how every female character on it is kind of a pedophile. That makes me a little uncomfortable. Um, So yeah, that's probably my only negative. I do enjoy the show nonetheless. Yeah, let's move on to number 9. Number 9 is 1883, which is a Western miniseries, spin-off of Yellowstone, created, written, directed, kind of starring Taylor Sheridan. Those who know me know that I'm a big fan of Yellowstone, but I've I feel like this is better than Yellowstone. I know. Sue me, everybody. But there's a reason this is on the list and Yellowstone isn't. It's just very epic. Feels really grand, like a epic western of the 1960s. The acting all around is spectacular. From musicians turned actors like uh, Faith Hill and Tim McGraw to veteran actors like Sam Elliott to newcomers like Isabel May, who I think stole the show. She was really good in this. So yeah, this show has it all. It has action, um, and sometimes it tugs in the heartstrings. Very emotional show. What I like about the show is that it doesn't hold back in showing how brutal the Oregon Trail was. How just awful it was. People dying left and right. A lot of shows would kind of show the more adventurous side of it, which this kind of does, but it doesn't hold back when it comes to the brutality of it. So all in all, I really enjoyed it. It felt way less soap operas than the later seasons of Yellowstone. And yeah, you know, honestly, great job, Taylor Sheridan. I haven't seen 1923 yet, but when I do, hopefully it's on the 2023 list. So yeah, highly recommend this show to people who just kind of like those big, epic, prestige dramas in general. And it's only a miniseries. You could find it on Paramount Plus or DVD and Blu-ray. Okay, moving on to The Boys, season 3. Yeah, I thought this one was a very good season, as with seasons 1 and 2. They yet to miss with me. Though I thought the finale was a tad underwhelming, I did enjoy the season overall. I love the progression of characters such as Maeve, and Starlight. Huey has a nice little arc this season, and Billy Butchell, you see a lot more humanity from him, so that's cool. I don't really like the Homelander kid plot. That was a little like, I don't know. I just don't like kids, so maybe that's it. But I do love Homelander as a villain. He's so like maniacal and unstable, but there's a sense of like pathos to him, so you kind of like get where he's coming from, while not liking the stuff he does. Very good show. Honestly, I can't wait for season 4. I am really excited about that. I'm kind of curious as to how many seasons they are going to do because I want to know how long they could drag the show out before it gets stale. Like I said, it's very good now, but I hope they know when to stop. Moving on to number 7, This Is Us, the final season. So I know This Is Us often gets made fun of as kind of a cheesy chick flick soap opera. And it's kind of right, it is that. But I feel like the characters are three-dimensional enough to distinguish it from others of its kind. So I enjoyed the season. There were a couple filler episodes, but at the same time, I felt like the ending was a bit rushed. It was this kind of weird contradiction, but it kind of sped through a lot towards the end. But overall, I thought it was a very fitting send off to the show. I like where all the characters ended up, except for Kate. I hate Kate. She's the worst. But overall, very good show, good acting. Mandy Moore, like, she was denied an Emmy for this. She was great in this final season, especially showing the character of Rebecca at different stages in her life, from 20s, 30s, 50s, and then whole very raw performance as a woman with dementia. As somebody who's seen a woman with dementia, I think it was very accurate. So great job to her and the rest of the show. You will be missed. You've been on my list 3 years in a row, so congrats. Moving on to number 6, Stranger Things. So this show, I always liked Stranger Things, but I think after season 1, while still being a very good show, it didn't have the same holy shit, this is amazing feeling that season 1 did. Season 4 brought that back. After a 3-year wait, which I think was worth it. I'm not one to complain about long waits for TV shows. They came back hitting the perfect, just very horrifying stuff. The whole neck cracking. That was cool. Just the way the characters have developed from season 1 to now, in the relationships. The acting was great. I really liked the characters of Max this season. She was probably my favorite. Millie Bobby Brown was great as usual with 11. And I think Lucas actually got a really good arc this season, because I feel like throughout the first 3 seasons, while I like Lucas, he was always kind of off to the side. But this season put him much more in the forefront. So that's something I really enjoyed. I also love the whole Hopper arc and the whole Joyce and Maury trying to save him. That was really cool. And the fact that it took them so long to unite was good, because it kept you waiting. And just the twists and turns this season, which I'm not going to spoil here because this is mostly unspoilable ranking. You can kind of tell that they thought about this years ago, and I love when shows do that. So the whole villain this season, you realize, was kind of in part of it all along. I like that. I like stuff like that. Very excited for season 5, and I think I'm pretty confident that they're going to end it on a good note. When they end shows after only a few seasons, 5 seasons, I respect that. You don't want to drag it out too long. Moving on to number 5, which is Barry. So this show also took a long break, but I'm not upset about that, because like I said, if it takes a while and it arrives and it's good, then it's worth it. So yeah, this is a very funny show. I'm not usually much of a comedy person, but this comedy is so kind of dark that I just enjoy it. They also sprinkled in with little bits of drama. It's kind of okay, so Succession is a drama with little bits of comedy in it. This is a comedy with a little bits of drama in it. And I thought it took a while for the season to really get going, but once it did, it was spectacular. The whole chase scene with the motorcycle and then on top of the roof, that whole thing was incredible. And the last 2 episodes were very dramatic. I think Henry Winkler does a good job in those really dramatic scenes. I didn't know he was like that, because usually you see Henry Winkler, it's in a comedy like Arrested Development or something, but he was really good in this. I feel like Sarah something, the lady who plays, what's her name? Hold on. This is embarrassing. Sarah Goldberg. Yeah, Sarah Goldberg. She did really good this season too, because she's so good at balancing the kind of pathetic comedic stuff with the kind of more hard-hitting drama stuff. I feel like she's going to have a really good career post-Barry. Moving on to number 4 is House of the Dragon Season 1. So this was the biggest surprise for me this year, because those of you know, I'm a huge fan of A Song of Ice and Fire. I don't know if you guys could see that. And as someone who was very disappointed by the final season of Game of Thrones, I was not really looking forward to the show at all. The only things that got me to watch it was my grandpa liking it and the fact that Matt Smith is in it. Because those of you who also know me know that I love me some Doctor Who. But yeah, this show was awesome. Just very brutal, like Game of Thrones. And you could tell it's like going somewhere because all the material was already written, unlike Game of Thrones. So there's really no chance the writers could fuck this up. But like I said, a very brutal show. So like those of you who kind of squeamish maybe don't want to watch this because like somebody's having a miscarriage every 2 episodes apparently. But yeah, just the way it slowly develops the characters, you really get to understand why they hate each other so much. Why the rivalry that starts as friends can grow into this like really sad rivalry. Just the acting all around is great. Not just from Matt Smith, but from Patty Constantine, the two Rhaenyra's actresses, Millie Alcock and Emma Dulce, I think. And Olivia Cook does a really good performance here too. And I love how sinister Aegon is. He's a crazy son of a bitch. So for those of you who enjoyed the first few seasons of Game of Thrones, I think you'd really like this. It's definitely on that level, and I'm very excited to see where it goes because I know some stuff that's going to happen, but I kind of refrain from reading the books. But I kind of know what's going to happen anyway. But I kind of skimmed it. I don't know exactly. Moving on to number 3, we have Demon Slayer. Commit. We have Demon Slayer. Season 2, Part 2 specifically. Season 2, Part 1 aired in 2021, and that was more of a filler arc recapping the movie. So Season 2, Part 2 is what I'm talking about here. This arc was crazy, just the animation off the charts. The characters are so well written. You really feel for them, except for Zenitsu, or whatever the yellow-haired guy's name is. I forgot, it's been a while, but I hate that guy. But even he got some good moments this season. I don't know, I really like the villains. The fight scenes, choreography, amazing. It's like everything you'd want from a good action anime show. And, it's not stupid. So that's good. Moving on to number 2. And, okay, number 2 and number 1, I've been thinking about this for days, like which I'm going to put as which, because they're both incredible, like pieces of art I think everybody should watch. And it took me a while, but yeah, okay, here we go. Number 2 is Better Call Saul. What a ride this show was. I've been a fan of it since middle school. So I think I watched it between like seasons 2 and 3, and I've been just watching it ever since. So I'm very connected with these characters. So for those of you like who kind of stopped watching in season 1, like, oh, this is boring, this isn't like Breaking Bad. Well, that's not the point. It's not supposed to be like Breaking Bad. It's its own entity, It's a very slow-moving crime drama, but like it always keeps you on the edge of your seat because Vince Gilligan and Peter Gould are such talented writers that you trust them to deliver. And this season delivers. While the first full seasons are a little bit more slow-moving setup, seasons 5 and 6 is when things go really crazy. And there's all these twists and turns you don't see coming, but then like you think, well, that does make sense for the characters and the natural progression of the plot. Unlike some things, looking at you, Star Wars: The Last Jedi. But yeah, the plot twists actually make sense, and the characters are so well written. They're written like the real people. And a lot of that has to do with the writing, but a lot of that has to do with the acting, particularly Bob Odenkirk and Ray Seahorn, who just have like this incredible chemistry. And while they all bad people, you do want them to succeed in a way, or you just want them to become better people. And, not spoiling anything, but I really like the finale. I really like the finale, how you get to see what happens to them after Breaking Bad. That's really cool too. So yeah, just a very well-written season, final season. It's very rare that you get a good finale because most finales are not that good. But, the Breaking Bad finale was awesome. El Camino is awesome. Of course, this is awesome. I can't wait to see what Vince Gilligan's doing next. I think he's doing a show with Ray Seaholm, so good for both of them. Okay, number one, not Doctor Who. Honestly, this is the third year I've done this joke, and I think it's my last year doing this joke because Russell T Davies is coming back. But for those of you who have known, I am not a big fan of the Chris Chibnall era of Doctor Who. Now, admittedly, the third episode was pretty good for this year. They did 3 episodes this year. The third one was pretty good. But the first 2 were awful, which is why I can't put this on the actual list. So yeah, goodbye, Chris Chibnall, Doctor Who. You will not be missed. I think Jodie did a pretty good job, though. If only she got better scripts. Bring on Russell T Davies. Okay, moving on to my real number one is Attack on Titan Season 4 Part 2. This was a ride. Man, this was a ride. This show is known for the really good plot twists, and just when you think they're done doing stuff like that, they keep bringing it. Like, you realize, oh, this character's been planning all of this from the beginning. It's incredible. I like shows where, they make the protagonist a villain, and I think few shows do it better than this. So just an incredible show. I don't really want to say much without spoiling it, but, for those of you who like drama, anime, just kind of post-apocalypse things, shows with really good plot twists, very well-written characters, just watch this show. It's fantastic. I'm excited for the season 4, part 3, part 1, I guess, that comes out in March. So, bring it on, I read the manga, I know how it ends, but I just love to see it animated. Just like Chainsaw Man, it's also animated by Studio Mappa, and the animation's incredible. Honestly, it's just a great show. I highly recommend everybody watch this. It's pretty brutal, though, so if you don't like stuff like that, and, okay, it's a cartoon, so it's not, brutal, but it's pretty brutal. Attack on Titan's a really hard show to talk about in videos like this, because almost anything that happens in the season is a spoiler. So just, go back, watch season 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let me know what you think. So that is it. That is all 10 shows, well, all 10 of my favorite shows for the season. Like I said, it was pretty hard to narrow it down because I watched 23 of them. Happy to say, or kind of sad to say, that none of the Disney shows made it. I did like Andal, but that was close, but it didn't quite make it. So yeah, let me know what you guys' favorite shows were this year. I've said it before, and I've said it again. We are in a golden age of TV now. I think around 2010 is when shows kind of bypassed movies in terms of quality, and I think a lot of that has to do with cable television and streaming. So I am very excited to see what 2023 has to offer, between the returning shows, the shows I mentioned that are coming back this year, and new shows. I'm just really excited, I love me some TV. So thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, peace.